wrestling fans here at home, across the country, across the world, across the universe, and across the multiverse. I'm your man, that's always the big boss, the big host, EKB, owner, founder, leader of EKB PRODUCTIONS. We are proud to present to you another installment of the EKB TTS Podcast Talk. EKB talks that shit. And we're going to be talking about some great shit here this weekend. WrestleMania weekend, the biggest, you guys know, the biggest event and the biggest weekend of the year for me, and I'm sure for all of you watching this at home. Today we're going to be doing nothing other than really discussing the match card for WrestleMania's Night 1 and Night 2. I want to give my professional opinion. You guys can give yours as well. Make sure you hop into the conversation down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. So, starting with WrestleMania Night 1. First off, they got this card out of order. This is CBS, but I'm gonna read off, not based off what I like most, but in terms of ranking, like a little bit more prestigious. This just got announced. This is this, that, and third. Although I'm excited for it all, so don't worry about it. I'm not hating on nobody's favorite wrestlers. So first thing we're gonna talk about is right there the recently announced match like 2 weeks ago. As we see Rey Mysterio and Dragon, the future of Lucha Libre, Dragon Lee of the LWO taking on Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio, who are by extension representing Legado del Fantasma. And it's pretty semi-set for this particular match right there. I'm glad now, because of the way things were stacked at the time within the mid-card, Santos couldn't get above his high ceiling, especially with Carlito coming back. Well, he was always back, but they didn't use him for whatever reason, and they finally decided to use him. And they had to give LWO more people to fight against because they couldn't feud with Judgment Day. So what they did was, basically turned Santos back into what he was before Rey Mysterio turned him into what he was when he was a good guy. Because people forget, before the LWO existed, it was still Legado del Fantasma, Santos, and Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza when they got to main roster. And then Rey Mysterio changed it after sitting on it for 9 or 10 months. They were like, okay, now we're the new LWO. Now he's taking it back to Legado being what he should have been and what he is, the Emperor of Lucha Libre right there, honoring his heritage in a more evil traditional manner, like an older school, just an old school Eddie Guerrero. And I really am digging it, especially, bringing back up Angel and Humberto, who I can't even say revitalized because it's not like they won a title or anything, but re-energized their careers in terms of going down to NXT, rediscovering their roots. It's unfortunate for me. I don't really like it because it's not that I have anything against Humberto or anything like that, but the fact that now they're both more or less on equal footing when Garza was being pushed so heavily when he first got brought in, whereas Humberto was okay and he was behind, but he was just, that's why they kept him separate. He was on NXT, he was on 205 Live, and they were killing it, and then Humberto got called up first, and Angel got called up later. Then they feuded against each other, and those were great matches, and then, but then they eventually decided to bring them together as a part of the dynasty, and I don't like the fact that they're still not calling them the Garza dynasty anymore, because there's a lot to play on with that. But getting back to the match, and with the interesting add-on of Dominic, I think, and this is no disrespect to Dragon Lee, because I love Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee's my boy. I can't wait till he's in the WWE 2K24 game. Play the hell out of him. But I really think Legado needs this win. So I'm going for Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, the Emperor of Lucha Libre, and Dominic Mysterio for the win there. Okay, another tag team match. Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill, that bitch right there, versus Damage Control. This one is pretty self-explanatory. I think this is just more or less not an excuse, because it's not, because they belong. They've all proven they belong at one point or another. To put, as many top stars on the WrestleMania card as possible. It's the biggest WrestleMania in history. It makes sense. It's the 40th anniversary. And this is more or less a push, just a spotlight for Jade Cargill. And I'm okay with that. Because it's time. She needs to be on TV more. She needs to be featured prominently, and it's a good way to start without necessarily having her in a singles match. Although I would personally, especially since although the brand split has become more and more tighter recently, I still think there was something to be done with regards to playing off that mini match that we had between Jade Cargill and Nia Jax at the Royal Rumble. I think that should have been the match. Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax. I would sign up for that. That bitch versus the Face Breaker. I think that's cool. And the promos, that would hit. That would hit. But I'm okay with this, especially seeing I love Kairi Sane. She's my favorite. Aside from, I love them all. Dakota Kai especially, because it's kind of hard to pick between Kairi Sane and Dakota Kai. But Kairi Sane's my favorite member of Damage Control. I just love her face character. Her real character, well, I guess she's half my favorite. Dakota Kai's my full favorite, because no matter what Dakota Kai does, face or heel, I still love her, and she's awesome. She's kick ass. With Kari, it's like, her heel persona is like, maybe if she was alone, maybe it would be better. But with a group like that, heel dynamic doesn't work for me. As a face, she becomes my instant top female babyface, and I hope when they put her in the game, they don't just make her the Damage Control version. I know it's a lot to ask, but like just go back and put her in the 2018 version of her. It would be kill. It would kill. I love the pirate princess persona. That's just me. But I know a lot of you guys feel the same way. I know. Because I can't be the only one who thinks that. Anytime a character captures your imagination like that, like the Ultimate Warrior, you instantly only want to see them one way. And, that's kind of how she is. Like Superman. Like, truth, justice, and the American way. You see him in one light. So imagining him as something different, it's like, okay, but like you're not going to dig it that much. So, seems like we're talking about a lot of tag team matches. Before I talk about the next tag team match, I'm going to hop up a little bit. Becky Lynch, the match for the WWE Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Becky Lynch versus the Nightmare Mommy herself, Rhea Ripley. Now, I am... I'm excited for everything, but in terms of, I'm guessing in this case I'm like semi-excited because it feels kind of like this particular match isn't getting the proper, not build, but maybe not the proper spotlight that it should, as a compared to the other female match, which we'll get to later. I I don't like that. Even though the promos, like it's specifically maybe the reason it sticks in y'all's head this particular match is because you hear I don't buy the I would buy the T-shirt, but I don't want to wear it out in public. And then even though it's ironic and funny, I'm gonna buy the T-shirt anyway. The one that says "Mommy's on top," right? There, I love that. And then Becky comes in and says, "Now Mommy's gonna learn what it's like to be a bottom." And I was like, I get it. That was some TV 14 attitude or shit. I love it, and that's what gets me into it. Those dynamics between these two characters. Rhea's in to prove that she's now taking Becky's spot, which she should have done a long time ago. Like she's on top, really. And Becky is determined to basically more or less keep her place because she always finds her way right back into that. I gotta be in title contention. She's basically the face female version of Charlotte. A good guy version of her. Like I'm always gonna be in this position from now on, which is, I guess, that's the way the world works, and I'm fine with that. So, but as for that match, I think it's kind of obvious. You kind of have to put Rhea in that spot to justify her having that title. She needs that big win and continue it on. Now later down the line, who I think could take the title off of her, I think I don't really think we've built up anyone right now who can possibly take the title off of Rhea. So maybe that should be our next focus. But maybe an NXT call up. Roxanne Perez looking pretty hot. Get to that a little later. So we move to the other tag team match I was talking about. The six-pack tag team ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, as we see Damon Priest and Finn Balor of the Judgment Day set to take on the Awesome Truth, R-Truth, and The Miz versus I can't even say the New Day. I'm not gonna say New Day because it's not New Day. Kingston and Xavier Woods versus I forget eight A Town Down Under. That's what they call themselves. Or the Grayson Bloody Waller and Austin Theory versus the New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight. Glad to see him's back. And the big strong boy Tyler Bate. And my idols, hashtag DIY. So, I'm super stacked for this match because it's a ladder match. So you know some shit's gonna go down. It's gonna be crazy. We haven't seen DIY in a tag team match since Takeover in Chicago, and you know how that works out. So might be something there, but I'm hoping that's not the case in this case. Even though it'd be so cool to do it at WrestleMania, but no. And the tag team titles, as you guys know, and I've been saying it for a long time in certain episodes, them tag team titles should be split up. It's been way too long. They've been together for way too long now. I get it. If you count the time, they've technically only really been to well, yeah, over 2 years because counting the last two WrestleManias. So about 2 years, something like that. And now that the brand split is kind of tightening up, like I said earlier, split the damn titles up. That's why all these tag teams feels like they're not going anywhere, and that's why WWE, you don't see WWE signing a lot of tag teams from the independents. Other than NXT, where the hell are they going to go where tag division is pumping and it feels like there's stakes and there's actual stories, all right? Because the only story in the tag division is Judgment Day has the tag titles, they're not going to let anyone go, and they have to go between each show to maybe pick one team to face, and then the other tag teams are in limbo. I don't like that. I don't like that. If there's one set of tag teams per show, then there's multiple dynamics you can have and other types of stories you can tell. And that's what I like. And that's what we need to get back to. So I'm hoping that's the direction they're going in because they announced the match weeks ago, but they only recently announced now it's going to be a scramble situation, meaning if one team comes up and takes one set of tag titles down, meaning just the Raw titles down, the match will continue. It's not winner take all. At least not necessarily. It's kind of stupid the way they worded it. Take down one set of titles, but the match still goes on until the other set of titles are taken down. So if, let's say, for example, if Awesome Truth only gets the Raw tag titles down and then gets knocked out by DIY gets the SmackDown titles down, then that means that's who our champions are for Raw and SmackDown. At least I'm hoping that I'm explaining that right. Yes. But either way, that don't matter. The point is the tag titles are getting split. I'm for that, and the matches are gonna kick, and I'm for that. And I'm going for I get to pick two winners because that's the way it works, and obviously they're splitting the titles. And thank God. So my first pick is kind of obvious. DIY. I'm picking DIY to win. They're on Raw, so they're probably gonna stick to that show. So Raw tag team titles, and I am going to pick the New Catch Republic to win the SmackDown tag titles. Because Pete Dunne has been in limbo for way too long. Tyler Bate just got called up. They've been killing it. Their tag team synchronous is perfect. They're friends. It works. And then I'm booking in my head already. Down the line, I can see them losing the titles to a heel team like A-Town Down Under. See, I'm already fitting them in the rut. But one team I think was missing from the equation that I think really should be considered here, but maybe they'll win the titles down the line again, is Pretty Deadly. You know my boy. Yes, boys! I love Pretty Deadly. So I'm mad that they're not in the match. They could have taken New Day's place, like seriously. But Awesome Truth has been killing it with the comedy stuff, so I get why they're in there. So they might just give Truth his WrestleMania victory because it's like one of those times where comedy guy comes back, people are loving it, so put a towel on him, which I think is kind of a waste. But like, that's okay. So that's who I'm going for in the tag team match. So back to the singles. Now we talk about Jimmy and Jay. It seems like every 10 years we got to do a brother versus brother. We got to do a brother versus brother match. This is our time. Uso versus Uso. Big brother Jimmy versus little bro main event Jay Uso. Now, this is kind of self-explanatory. You guys know the Bloodline storyline's been going on forever, and it ends at this WrestleMania. And so this, I don't really need to explain this to you because it kind of writes itself, like Matt versus Jeff or Owen versus Brett. It just the story is there. One brother's jealous of the other brother. This match will determine once and for all who really is the best, who really deserves to be in the single spotlight. And obviously, I'm not wearing the shirt right now, but I'm a J guy, so I'm rooting for main event Jey Uso. That's my boy's time, so we all good on that. Now back to another singles match for the Intercontinental Championship. We're set to see Gunther taking on Sami Zayn. That's in a lot of people's minds. I think people forget because these two have never fought before. That really is a dream match because you've never seen that. At least not on this stage. It might have happened on Raw or something, but see what I'm saying? See how it's so relevant? I don't remember because Gunther's been on such a dominant run. It seems like he's ran through everybody. He has to pick someone he's already beat in order to do it again. That's why people are mad that Chad Gable's not going to be in the match. To be honest with you, to add on to that, I would have, when they did the gauntlet match, and you clearly saw, and people in the audience and with the cameras on the video were zooming in on Chad's shoulders, and the referee counted 3 anyway. I would have ran with that. That if I was Triple H, I would have ran with that and been like, "Hey, people are egging up, like Chad's not gonna be in the match. Chad's not gonna be in the match," and make Sammy not like a dick, but like make it clear that like Sammy's like, "Dude, sorry, you lost. That's the end of the way it is. Referee decision final. I am going to go to WrestleMania. I'm gonna beat Gunther." Chad gets more and more pissed, and fans get behind him and demand that he be put in the match, and we put him in. So that way he's in, and I think a triple threat match will work way, way better, personally. Not the singles match is gonna slap. I want to make that clear. It's gonna be awesome because Sammy's gonna go all out. He might pull out some more NXT stuff, and Gunther same way. I can't wait to see it. They might do all their greatest hits finishers, which I'm all down for. But I think Chad adds that technical acumen game that really would mesh really well with everybody else's dynamic. Imagine that WrestleMania 22 Rey Mysterio versus Kurt Angle versus Randy Orton type scenario match. And that's really what I would have gone for personally. But a singles match is cool too. And maybe you never know. I think because if the rumors are to be believed, I think that this Gunter's not losing it for another 6 months. And I think ideally they're gonna have him lose it at Bash in Berlin, which I hope by then Ilya Dragunov is called up by then, because that would just be so perfect, because it makes sense, but I don't know. So I'm going for Gunther in this match, unfortunately, even though I love Sammy. And he needs a singles WrestleMania moment and a singles title, but I think if he loses this, that takes him out of the mid-card, and that can allow him maybe to run through another gauntlet or whatever to get number one contendership to go for the world title, bump off Drew, because that story can still be told, and then get him the world title, which he really needs at this point. He's like the only NXT guy that still works in WWE, aside from the guys who are like lower or jobbers or mid-carders for life, who has never won a world title. So that's a shame. So I want that. And then the final match for WrestleMania card, night 1 of the main event of the evening, the final boss, the most electrifying man in all of sports and entertainment, The Rock, with the tribal chief, the Samoan's tribal chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns, versus the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and Seth, the Visionary, Seth, the Revolutionary, the one, the only Seth freaking Rollins, and a tag team match to determine whether or not the Bloodline will be allowed to be present at the main event of WrestleMania Night 2, the biggest tag team match in WrestleMania history, quote unquote. what can I say other than the spectacle? That match sells itself, So I don't need to say anything more. It's like Jimmy versus Jay. It sells itself. You guys already know the story. I don't need to re-explain it. I'm not a fan of how Rock just forced himself into this whole situation entirely as it is, because the WrestleMania card needed to be saved when it didn't. I mean, everything was still in place just fine, but I'm not gonna complain about it either because I think what he's been doing has been excellent, and I'm all for it. So obviously, I'm rooting for Cody to win because we want that moment to be clean and to be pure. Roman versus Cody. Cody wins it fair and square, man to man. Let's prove that Cody was the better man last WrestleMania. Finish the story, which of course we'll come back to. So that's what I'm rooting for there. And that's WrestleMania card night 1. So WrestleMania card night 2. Let's start off with this one. The triple threat match for the WWE United States Championship triple threat match between the Maverick Logan Paul versus the Viper Randy Orton versus the prize fighter Kevin Owens. Now this is the first, I believe, I could be wrong, but first multiple man match that Logan Paul has ever worked in his WWE career. And I'm excited to see but he's in there with two veterans who know the game and work very well with each other. And I think his kind of caution to the wind, ground and pound striker style meshes in that very well. I mean, we all want to see that moment where Logan goes for the splashing and then gets caught for an RKO, and then Kevin like pop up powerbomb somebody. We want to see that. So I want those spots. Now, as for this match, I think, yeah, I'm gonna go do a little conservative booking because if they were gonna give the title to Kevin, I think they would have done it by now. To be honest with you, but I could be wrong, and I'm cool if I am. I'm gonna go for Logan Paul. I think Logan retains here. There's still so much mileage in him being a celebrity that they're not gonna take the title off him right now. So moving to the tag team matches. I knew they were gonna book this, but I didn't know when. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to SmackDown that day. But Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, aka now officially known as the Pride, which kind of sounds like a LGBTQ slogan, but okay. I mean, that other place had Proud and Powerful, which makes sense, kinda, but okay. Versus the Final Testament, that's, Killer Cross, and the AOP, Authors of Pain, and Paul Ellering and Scarlett. In a 6-man tag team Philadelphia street fight. Now that's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to see, but man, because a traditional I think that works best because they've been brawling just this whole time. A traditional tag match would not work for this particular match, so I'm excited to see what they come up with. Is gonna fuck some stuff up. I'm down with that. And next we see a singles match, the dream match, as we see the man who should have been here last year because it was LA. We see the megastar LA Knight versus the phenomenal AJ Styles. 1-on-1, first time ever, WrestleMania Night 2. I'm all in, baby. AJ's mad that LA was still in the spotlight and taking his chance to get revenge and get the title off Roman Reigns. LA Knight is mad at AJ for screwing him over in Elimination Chamber when he had the chance to possibly challenge Roman Reigns again right there because he never technically legitimately lost to him. And I'm excited to see where this goes right here because I think this is either one of them could win logically speaking because they're both on kind of equal footing, but in reality, LA Knight needs this win way more than AJ does. And I think the move for AJ probably is to go where Gallus and Anderson are to NXT. Not to be written off, because he still can go back to SmackDown, but like to get that career rejuvenates there, and there's some awesome people for him to work with down there. I would love to see him on Tuesday nights. So that's where I'm going with that. I'm going for LA Knight. AJ Styles is gonna find out once and for all. That's right. Whose game is this? That's right. It's LA Knight with everybody saying LA Knight. I love that. So yeah, I'm down for that. Yeah. So next match, Io Sky versus Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship. Now, continuing on from the Damage Control storyline, this is possibly the most well-crafted women's story that WWE has done in a while. And that's saying something because there's been some phenomenal stuff going on with the women, depending on what women we're talking about. And Bayley winning the Rumble was the right move. I don't think there's really anybody else I could have seen winning it aside from maybe Jade if she was really ready for that particular moment. But I loved it, and the fact they were always teasing the turn. They were always teasing the turn. So when the Bayley won, that was the perfect time to do it. Break them up and separate. What I'm hoping what happens is, because it can't be the Sasha Banks thing anymore, because that's clearly what they were teasing was going to happen, but not anymore. I'm hoping that Dakota ends up flipping on Damage Control, costs Io the title, and Bayley and her still be friends and everything, and she supports her and everything, kind of like what happened with Raquel. But this time they actually do it right. When she turns on her friend, it actually should work for her. And then you can have that rivalry and then put Dakota on top. Maybe by the time we get to about SummerSlam. I would love that. I don't think anyone in the WWE Universe would not dig that. So that's what I'm hoping for. So I'm going for Bayley. But if they keep the title on Io, there's nothing wrong because she's an awesome champion. She's a great wrestler. So no problem with that if they decide to do that. So next, the semi main event, I guess, for the WWE World's Heavyweight Championship, as we're set to see Seth freaking Rollins versus the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre. Ongoing feud, and Drew has been basically playing the whiny bitch story for like the longest time now, and it's getting on everybody's nerves. But he's right, and this is the first time the whiny bitch story has actually worked for me because it's so true. When he says that Seth spends all of his time so focused on the bloodline, even though the bloodline's not even on Monday Night Raw, that he's never really on Monday Night Raw that much as he should be, and actually building up his own match. Like, let's focus on my world title match. Let's build this match in this story. And I love the dynamic of tying in CM Punk to sit at ringside so he still has something to do. And he can maybe foul up the outcome. But I really don't want that unless it only benefits Drew, because Drew kind of, for all that he did for us during the pandemic and entertaining us while we were doing that, he was our guy. He deserves to win a world championship in front of a live crowd. That's all he really wants. And I think, hell, I don't know if they might have said he did or if he didn't. I don't follow Dirt. She's like, I be getting, but when my sources, call, I listen. But I think that's what would make him sign a new contract. Is the fact that they show that they're really appreciative of that and they're willing to move with him as a champion again. Because he's been WWE champion before. He's accomplished that goal, but not with this, when the lights are at their highest, that moment. Because they couldn't do it with Bobby last year when they brought the crowds back, because they were like, no, Bobby just got on this tear with her being WWE champion. We can't put the title back on you, Drew, even though the crowd's back. Like, it's unfortunate, but it's true. So this is Drew's moment. And so the next match, the final match, of course, as we said, the main event of the evening, as we're set to see the Samoan tribal chief, Roman Reigns, the head of the table, take on the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, for the WWE's undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship of the world, baby! Finish the story. Enough said. I don't give a fuck how elaborate you make it, how long the match goes. It's gonna be great. We already know these two can go. We just need to see that visual image of Cody holding that title way above his head, and those fireworks going off. And I would make it a big spectacle. Have Brandy there, have baby Liberty there, have Pharaoh, like we've seen him in the truck, but like bring him out. A whole Nightmare Family. Arn Anderson could come back right there. -1, Brody Lee Jr. right there. His mom. Everybody make this that moment that we at these kind of WrestleManias, these big anniversaries, is specifically like the Daniel Bryan thing, the it Chris Benoit, the Eddie Guerrero thing, etc., the Bret Hart thing. We like those big moments that make us feel good. We feel like we're literally standing right there with them when those moments happen. And if you really want to click that moment to stick with people so that way they continue to support and watch the product going forward to see support their new champion, that's what I think we should do. But ultimately, I know it's going to be great. And I hope that Triple H is not that stupid to be like, oh, the story's going to be prolonged like another year. Like, no. Because by then, they might as well fire Cody because everybody's going to turn on him. And I do not want that because Cody's been brilliant since he's got back. He is basically the modern day John Cena, but we don't boo him. So I'm excited. This is where we're going to finish the story. I can't wait for WrestleMania, and I know you're going to tune in too. And to caveat this, I am also equally as excited for NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. Not just the one we're doing, but the one going on for WWE's NXT. I'm not going to do a review for that for the simple fact that we are going to wake up even earlier to do a live stream reaction video to Stand and Deliver, and I encourage everybody to join us for that. So stay tuned. So thank you all for joining us on the EKB TTS Podcast. We hope you liked, share, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want us to talk about next. If you want to be involved in what we do, feel free to reach out to us on PlayStation or Xbox or Discord right there, network, wherever it is you consume your media. And from all of us here, remember, we thank you, we love you, God bless you, good night, and we're going to have some great fights.